All right, guys, take a seat and we'll get started. Let you know what's going on today. We're going to start with some vocab words. We're going to review vocab word from yesterday. You're going to draw a picture of the two new vocab words that you're getting today. We'll review what we read yesterday in our book, and then we'll continue on reading in chapter 7. We'll finish that up, and then any time that's left over at the end, we'll journal. All right, so we'll start with our vocab word from yesterday, which was pathetic. Does anyone remember what pathetic means? What definition did we come up with? Jamie. Yeah, good. We came up with pity or pitiful was our definition for that. So good. Um, You're going to be introduced to two new vocab words today. They are up on the board. They're on the smart board. One is dispute, and that means to argue or debate. And the other one is frown, and that is the definition for frown is to look displeased or not happy. So write those down in your notebooks. Yep, right after where you put them yesterday. Write those down. And then after you write down the definitions, I want you to draw a picture of what you think that word means. And you're drawing the picture to help you remember what it means. You can just look at it and have a quick idea of what it means. Okay, so take a few seconds to do that. Doesn't have to be a great picture, just something that's going to help you memorize the word. Okay, and I can come around and help if anybody needs any help. Remember, definitions are right up on the smartboard. If you're having trouble with some ideas for what to draw, I'll come around and can help you do that. Okay, so if I was to draw a frown, I just would probably draw a person that doesn't look happy. Kind of an upside down smile could work. If you're doing dispute, you could draw something, people having some type of an argument, yelling at each other back and forth. Definitely not physical violence, but just an argument. All right, good. So we're going to continue on in our book, but before we do, you should have your packets out so we can answer questions as we go along. Yesterday, what happened in our story? Okay, so who's Tony? That's good. Okay, Tony's our main character. What is Tony doing? What was he doing yesterday? Jake. Yeah, good. He's investigating the murder of his friend, and he goes to the police to see how they're doing, and he doesn't think that they're doing a good enough job, and they're not finding the killer. So he's going to take it upon himself. That's what he's decided. He's going to go out and do some investigating and find out who the killer is, because the cops aren't doing a good enough job. And he's out in the community searching for the killer, and he's kind of running into some roadblocks. Okay, people aren't really willing to cooperate, right? So that's where we're at. You have a couple of options while we continue reading on the story. We're going to start on page 90 at the very bottom. You can follow along with me, or you can read on your own. Yesterday we did popcorn reading, so we're just going to, these are your two options today. Tomorrow you'll have another option to popcorn read, but we're going every other day, so you can read on your own, or you can follow along with me. Okay. After school that day, Tony walked the street again, talking to everybody he met. Some were angry he asked questions. Others were afraid of putting themselves at risk by talking about a murder. But mostly they were nice. They just didn't know anything helpful. The next morning at school, when Tony opened his locker, 5 dead rats spilled out. Michelle, who was standing nearby, screamed, "Zanze Dun!" Who also happened to be there, laughed. "Gibbs, you making some dude mad." "Maybe so," Tony said slowly. His gaze drilled into Zenza. "Maybe you know maybe you know who that dude is, huh?" Okay, let's stop there for a second. Look at your packets. Look at question number 16. What's it asking? Okay. What does Tony find in his locker? Jeff. Yeah. Yeah, he finds dead rats. Jake, what do you think this means? Maybe. Yeah, maybe it means that he's close to figuring out who the killer is and they're trying to warn him. Okay, so that's something that you could write down for question number 16. "It's all those questions you've been asking, Tony," Michelle said, clutching her books. "Everybody's talking about it. Everybody is saying, hey, what's with the Gibbs boy? He working for the police or what?" "I'm trying to find out who killed my friend," Tony said. "All you do is get yourself hurt," Michelle said. But Tony felt a strange kind of excitement. "Know what this means, Michelle?" he said. "It means somebody around here killed Mr. Jefferson. No big-time drug dealer would put dead rats in my locker. I must be getting closer to the killer, and he's feeling the heat." Andre came around the corner as Tony began stuffing the rats into his paper sack. "Are those real?" he asked. "Somebody put them in Tony's locker," Michelle said in a hushed, scared voice. "Man, you've been nosing around too much," Andre said. "It's like in that movie The Godfather. Remember when they put the horse's head in the guy's bed? It's a warning, Tony," Michelle concluded. "Yeah," Andre agreed. "Back off." "Tony, you can't bring the old man back. So just let it alone." "You see me running scared, man?" Tony asked. "I see you dead if you don't watch yourself," Andre said. Just then Mr. Campbell walked past. "Somebody put dead rats in Tony's locker, Mr. Campbell," Michelle said. "That's not a very funny joke," Mr. Campbell said, frowning. "It wasn't a joke," Andre said. "It was a warning. Tony's getting too close to the dude who killed that old grocer." Mr. Campbell turned to Tony. "Why are you getting mixed up in this, Gibbs? Seems to me it's a matter for the police. It's bad business when other people try to do the work of the police and handle other people's disputes. It's just bound to cause trouble, even for the school." "The police need help, Mr. Campbell," Tony said sharply. "Everybody should be using their eyes and ears to help them. Otherwise it's trouble for the whole neighborhood." Mr. Campbell's frown deepened until the brow was like a furrowed field. "Did you get rid of those rats yet?" "I think I can still smell them." News of the nasty trick reached home before Tony did. When he walked in the door, Shauna was waiting for him. "Reggie Doone called and told me about the rats," she said. "Well, don't tell Mama," Tony said. "It'll just worry her." "Nothing's bad going to happen to you, is it?" Shauna's eyes were wide with concern. Tony patted his little sister on the top of her head. "No way, honey." He didn't tell her. He didn't tell anyone. But 2 of the rats in the locker had their throats cut. Okay. So the next question on your packet is, how did Tony's friends react to what they saw in his locker? Okay. Were they happy? Were they scared? Did they think it was messed up? What did you think? Yeah, they're scared for him, right? So they see it as a threat. They see it as a warning. The next question, how does Tony feel about it? You remember? Yeah, yeah, he's excited about it. He thinks that this means he's getting close. If I'm not close, people aren't going to be wasting their time putting rats in my locker, right? So if someone's taking the time to do this, I'm obviously sniffing up the right tree. Okay. And then the last question, what do you think the rats having their throat slit means? Think of the culture where Tony comes from. Yeah, it probably means if he keeps doing what he's doing, they're threatening his life, right? It's symbolic. Okay, so from there, we'll continue reading it tomorrow, but for the rest of the time, I'm going to have you write in your journals about the important things that happened in chapter 7. Some things to journal about. What's Tony doing? Why is he doing it? What kind of warnings is he getting? What was put in his locker? How are his friends reacting? And how is he reacting? All right. If you have questions, raise your hand. If you need help with spelling, raise your hand. Otherwise, you have the rest of the time to work on your journal and study vocab words if you finish your journal.